The story. Hieroglyphs on steel. The wounded dog's distant barking echoed somewhere deep in the mangrove thickets when Lynn first heard the low thunder of helicopter rotors. The morning mist still hovered above the rice terraces, and yet the air already felt heavy, as if a storm were coming. She pressed her AK-47 to her chest, running her fingers along the cold metal of the receiver cover. Etched into the steel were small hieroglyphs, a short message from her father. Courage keeps the family alive. He had given her this rifle before disappearing into the jungle with another Viet Cong unit. She hadn't heard from him since. Lynn stood at the edge of her tiny village, where every house was woven from bamboo, and every person was a part of a long story of survival. Today, that story could end. "They're coming," whispered an older fighter beside her, as he checked the loaded 7.6 2x39 magazine. Lynn nodded. Her heart beat fast, but her hands were steady. The AK-47 was heavier than it looked, yet balanced and reliable. It never failed, not in the rain, not in the mud, not when other rifles jammed. Her father always said, "This rifle will endure more than the strongest person." They took positions among dense undergrowth. Lynn pressed her shoulder against a tree trunk, lifted the rifle, and inhaled deeply. The rotor thunder grew louder. It was the kind of sound that left empty land behind it. When the first American soldiers emerged on the path, Lynn squeezed the trigger. She fired single shots more precise, more economical. Each shot made the rifle kick slightly, but she held it firmly, feeling the familiar recoil, finding the rhythm. The rifle worked exactly as her father had taught her. Smooth bolt movement, short cycling time, another shot. The sound of a 7.62mm round slicing through the air was sharp, almost dry, swallowed by the chaos of the jungle, by shouts and the response from American M16s. The soldiers dropped down, but more and more were coming. Lynn could feel the battle escalating. She swapped magazines, took a breath, and then shadows passed above the treetops. Helicopters were circling for another run. "Covering!" she shouted, though her voice drowned in the noise. She flipped the selector. The click felt unnaturally loud. Full auto mode. Lynn braced the stock against her shoulder and pulled the trigger. The AK-47 came alive, no longer separate shots, but a sudden hot storm of bullets, burst after burst. The rifle climbed upward, but she controlled it, dragging the barrel along the enemy's advance line. Her palms burned from the heat of the metal, but she wouldn't let go. Earth erupted around them. Leaves were clipped overhead. One of her comrades cried out, ducking behind a fallen tree. She saw the Americans trying to flank too quickly, too coordinated. She had to stop them. Breaking from cover, Lynn sprinted through the brush, shifting position before the next barrage hit. She felt as if her father were running beside her, just as silent, just as light on his feet. She could almost feel his hand gripping her shoulder. Or maybe it was only the wind. She dropped to the ground again, raised the rifle, and opened fire. Her bursts threw the enemy off, forcing them back toward the tree line. Suddenly, one soldier appeared closer than expected. Lynn swung the barrel and fired a short burst straight into the bushes. Silence fell abruptly, as if someone had switched off the world. Only the helicopters moved away again, unwilling to get any closer. The jungle smelled of smoke, wet earth, and sweat. Lynn sat with the AK-47 resting on her knees. The etched hieroglyphs on the receiver cover still glimmered faintly. They were now surrounded by new scratches, yet still clear. "Courage keeps the family alive." She touched the inscription and smiled. Her village had survived today. And as the footsteps of returning fighters stirred around her, Lynn knew her father would have been proud, even if somewhere in the distant morning mist he would never say it again. The AK-47 lay calmly across her lap. Born decades earlier, it had endured hellfire, rain, mud, and battle after battle, and today once again it had endured. together with her.